Hello my creative friends, welcome to Rain Francis Art. My name is Rain. Today I'm going to show you how to draw Daffy Duck. So why don't we get started? First I'll show you a list of the supplies that I'm using. This is dollar store drawing paper. It's a drawing pad. I have a dollar store paintbrush to wipe off eraser marks. I have a ruler, a regular pencil. I've got a 0.8 Fineliner Ink Pen. I've got my Artist Loft alcohol-based marker. It's orange, actually it's Tangerine. Daffy Duck's beak and his feet are kind of a yellowish orange. I've got a black Sharpie with a fine tip end and a regular tip end. I've got a white Prismacolor pencil and a couple of erasers. And don't mind my hand. I had a little incident with my car door 6 days ago, and we are still not on speaking terms. I have not forgiven that car door yet. Okay, so let's begin. Well, my friends, I lost a little bit of my footage, so I'm going to show you step one right now. And it's very easy. We're just drawing a circle that's 5 centimeters in diameter to represent the outline of Daffy's head. So I'm just going to show you how I do my circles. I put a mark at 0 and at 5 centimeters, and I put one in the middle at 2.5 centimeters. And then I turn my ruler vertically, and at the center mark I put 2.5 centimeters. And I draw a mark at 0 and at 5 centimeters. And then I just draw some arcs to make my circle, because I'm not very good at drawing circles freehand, as you can see. But this is just for an outline, so it doesn't have to be perfect. So there it is, and I'm sorry that I missed, that I lost the original footage. I really don't know what happened to it, but basically that was the first step, and now we can continue on with the rest of the tutorial. So now we're going to draw a few curves in the head, one going side to side, one going up and down. So from the bottom of the circle, we're going to draw a mark at about 1.5 centimeters, and from the left of the circle as well, about 1.5 centimeters. And these are going to just be our guidelines to make our arcs. So we're going to draw the arc, and it's going to rotate up higher on the left side, or sorry, the right side. This is right, my right. Now from the mark here that we had, we're going to draw an arc going up to the center of his head. There we go. His eyes come up about 2.5 centimeters. I'm just going to put a mark at 2.5 centimeters. He's got ovals for eyes, and I'm going to get rid of some of these center marks that I had here, so that I don't get confused. So we've got to redraw that. Okay, so he's got ovals for eyes, like I mentioned. The right eye is just a little bit thinner than the left eye. Okay, so now we're going to do in about the center of the circle 2 lines for his neck. To draw the body, I'm just going to do a little line here for reference. His body is 8 centimeters long. So there's my 8 centimeter mark. And we're going to draw a curved rectangle. I've mentioned this before. This is a pet house. And I don't know if the audio is picking it up or not, but my cat Oscar is snoring. Okay, actually his body can be a little wider. There we go. I'll erase that. that line there. All right. So now we're going to do arms and hands. I always do sticks for arms and a circle for the hand. I'm going to do a half circle here. Now for his legs, they're just under half the length of his body. So his body is 8 centimeters. We're going to do the legs at just under 4 centimeters, so maybe 3 3/4 centimeters. 2 little sticks for his legs. And his feet are the shape of rounded triangles, I suppose, which I have a hard time drawing, so I always start with a triangle and then I round it. Kind of like an ice cream cone there. Okay. You can leave your pencil marks. I'm just erasing them to avoid a lot of confusion. Okay. So that is the basic shape of Daffy Duck. Now we're going to start putting in the details. Don't be discouraged or get overwhelmed if you can't get it right away. Daffy Duck is very difficult to draw, and I still have a hard time drawing him. I have, like I mentioned before, I have to go back and put in my geometric shapes depending on what position I want him in and things like that. So just keep trying and draw very lightly so you can erase. So the first detail we're going to put in are his eyeballs. And I'm going to have him looking at us like that. Okay, now for his head, the left side of his head, we're going to put a mark along this arc here, 1/2 centimeter in. And that's going to be the side of his head. So we're going to draw a line up to the top of the circle. It's a curved line like this. Probably a little curvier. All right, let me erase that line so I don't confuse myself. Okay, for the right side of his head, we're going to draw a line from the top center of the circle, and it's going to come out right along the side of his eye, down like that. It's pretty easy. And then we're going to do the tufts of hair on the top of his head, or I guess they're feathers. He's got 3 tufts. The middle one is longer. Just like that. Now I've got notes here because I can't possibly remember everything, so that's why you're hearing paper shuffling around. Now we're going to take care of his beak. This is a little complicated, so bear with me here. We're going to draw a curved line coming from the inside of his right eye out. So, like that. And then we're going to draw kind of an elongated U shape for the top part of his beak. I have a little trouble doing this one, but I'm going to try my best. By George, I think I've got it. All right, now from the middle area of his neck, inside the circle, we're going to finish up the right side of his beak. So the middle of his neck here, just inside the circle, we want to draw another curved line like that. All right? And now we're just going to finish up his beak by rounding it out on the left side here. The top goes under both eyes, and from the right side of his head we've got a round area here. To simplify things, I'm going to erase a few of the lines. I want you to be able to see how it's coming together. And I'll do a better job at erasing after. Maybe I'll erase this one too. Okay, so you can see the curve here, and we want to give him a little smile. And we're going to add 2 nostrils. One is about here, one is about here. And we're going to move on to the arms and the hands. Well, first we'll do a little neck collar. And we're going to come here around the shoulder, but he's got a few feathers here. And join the circle here. His arm is thicker at the top and thinner at the bottom. So he's got a few feathers here, and then we're going to join the circle here. Same thing on this side. A few feathers around his shoulder. And he's got a couple of feathers here too. And we join the circle. There we go. Now the hands. Ooh, my nemesis, hands. I will try my best. Okay. Following the circle, we're going to make one finger here and join the wrist. That wasn't too bad. Another finger here, and a third finger here, and his thumb is going to come out. Hey, that wasn't too bad at all. Now we're going to do his fingers here. We've got one coming out here, and it's going to join his wrist, and another one here. I'm only going to put 2 because the third one might get lost there. Okay. So now we're going to do his legs and his feet. At the top of each leg, he's got what I call a little skirt. It's got 4 or 5 little frills on it, I suppose. Okay. And his legs are thin, but they're wider at the bottom, so I always start from the bottom and go up. They curve a little. Okay. Now for his feet, he's got a little curve here on the top of his ankle and 3 toes. His heel comes out and a curve up. Same thing on the other side, a little curve at the top of his ankle, 3 toes, heel and ankle. Okay, so now let's do a few little details. His body isn't that round, so we're going to come and do a little curve like that, kind of like a peanut. And then we're going to put his tail in. He's got 3 tufts of feathers on his tail. Okay, and the last thing we're going to do is make his eyelids pointy at the top. They kind of look a little bit like teardrops, I suppose. A little teardrop like this. Alright, so that's Daffy Duck. Now I'm going to grab my 0.8 Fineliner Ink Pen, and I'm going to draw the outline. I have a reference photo with me here, because with all of these different lines, especially on his beak, I want to make sure that I draw the lines that are supposed to be there. Okay. I'm going to start with the top of his beak. That'll give me a better reference for the eyes, I think. I'm going to make his eyes smaller. Nostrils. Okay. His smile. Now this line stops there, but this one comes a little below and stops right here. This one goes like this, and at this point we can add a little smile line for him there. And there we go. Go on to his neck and shoulders. Are you a fan of Daffy Duck? I think he's a great character, a great rival. If you have a favorite Looney Tune and you'd like to see me do a tutorial for it, let me know in the comments. I'd love to. Some of them are really complicated. For example, do I have it here? I've just been working on a tutorial to draw Elmer Fudd. This is Elmer Fudd here. He's holding his gun. He's out hunting wabbits. So that's going to be the next one that I'm working on. But if you have a suggestion, you want to learn how to draw one of the Looney Tunes, just let me know. Hopefully I won't be wounded in my next video. What happened was I was rushing out last week to get my COVID vaccination. And I forgot something in the car. And I went to grab the door before it closed, and bang. When you're in a rush, sometimes you don't think, huh? So I'm going to let this dry for 10 minutes because when I use these type of ink pens, if I start coloring in right away, they will start to smudge and bleed everywhere. So I can't erase either until this is dry. So in 10 minutes, we'll be ready to continue. Okay, my creative friends, I'm back, and I let this dry for 10 minutes. I started recording and erasing, and then my dog knocked something over, so I had to go and clean that up. So that's why you're seeing some of the pencil marks already gone. I can't go back and change that, so I'm just going to continue erasing. I have a vinyl eraser here that I got at the dollar store, actually. It's Staedtler brand. Staedtler's a good brand. I've got Staedtler ink pens and markers, and it was interesting to see them at the dollar store. I got a 4-pack of these erasers for probably, well, nothing's $1 at the dollar store anymore, or very few things are. Probably $1.25 or $1.75. These will last me for years. I think the last time I bought an eraser, a vinyl eraser like this one, may have been about 10 years ago. Now I have 4. Maybe they'll last me the rest of my life. Okay, so how does Daffy look? I think he looks pretty good. There are some details that we're going to put in at the end, so that's why he may not look complete right now. Okay, that looks great. So now I'm going to go in and start filling in the colors. The first color that I'm using is orange, or officially this is called Tangerine, and I'm using this Artist Loft alcohol-based marker, and I love it. I love this tip. It's like a paintbrush. So Daffy Duck is black. His beak and his legs and his feet are orange, and this little collar here is white. So I'm just going to start to color him in. I am really curious to listen to this video again because, to listen to this video because my cat Oscar's snoring is so loud right now. I don't know if you can hear it, and I'm curious to know if my microphone is picking that up. I mentioned this on my Tweety Bird tutorial, but I will mention it again. The reason why I use Fineliner ink pens to do the outlines of my Looney Tunes is because if I use Sharpies, they tend to make the warm colors bleed. For example, orange, or for Tweety Bird's yellow. If I outlined Daffy Duck's beak with a black fine tip Sharpie, and I did this, Oscar, he's making yum yum noises, that would have bled incredibly. And I did a lot of tests to make sure that I wasn't showing you how to do something that would look just awful at the end. All right. Beak is done. We'll do his feet. Ideally, I wanted to get a more yellowish orange to do Daffy Duck. And Tweety Bird's feet, actually, are orange too. But this was the only one I could find on the shelves. So I settled for it. It's okay, it's orange, but, you know, if you look at photos of Daffy Duck, his beak and legs and feet are more yellow than orange. Yellowish orange, I would say. But this is just for fun, so I'm happy. When I start drawing, I am always so relaxed. It's like therapy for me. And I've mentioned this before too, these alcohol-based markers are amazing. They dry up too quickly for my taste. And they're a little on the expensive side, so I don't have too many of them. I only use them for my Looney Tunes, actually. I have this orange here, I have a yellow, and I have a gray for Bugs Bunny. Otherwise, I use Sharpies. But every time I have an extra $5 handy, I go into Michael's. That's the art supply store in town, and I buy another one of these. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to take our black Sharpie, the thick end of the Sharpie, and fill in Daffy Duck. I'm going to use the fine end to go into the feathers and the smaller areas. I love the Looney Tunes. I have, I think, every single short they made from the 30s up to the 60s. My favorite decade is the 40s and the 50s. So my two favorite decades for Looney Tunes are the 40s and the 50s. Sorry, I'm probably blocking the camera right now, but I need to be careful around his eyes here. Yeah, the 40s and the 50s for me were the best years for Looney Tunes. The characters really started to develop. When Daffy Duck first came out on Looney Tunes, he wasn't the way he is today. He was kind of a goofy screwball, bouncing around with lots of energy. Kind of like, I don't know, kind of like how Bugs Bunny is now, but without all the sarcasm. Okay, I'm going to use the fine tip side now. Oh, it's hard to pull that off with my injured hand. Yeah, Daffy Duck used to be very, very bouncy. He would bounce around and annoy any other character that was near him. Kind of like a duck on speed. But I read that as Bugs Bunny's character started to become more popular than Daffy, they decided to change his character I'm just going to close this side up here. Yeah, they changed his character and he became like jealous and angry and impatient and insecure. A good rival for Bugs Bunny. And I know that that is not just a rumor because I read it on Chuck Jones's website. Chuck Jones is one of the creators of many of the Looney Tune characters. For the most part, Daffy Duck was Bugs Bunny's rival. Once in a while he was in shorts with Porky Pig. But then for some odd reason, they paired him up with Speedy Gonzales for a while. And it just never made sense to me. I mean, of course, I thought it was funny. I always think that all the Looney Tunes are funny. But I never understood why they paired him up with Speedy Gonzales. Speedy Gonzales was great paired up with Sylvester the Cat, and it kind of made more sense, didn't it? Cat going after a mouse. Okay, let's add in the feathers. And on his elbow here too. While I'm at it, I'll just color in his feathers here. I'll do all the small detail while I have my fineliner out, the fineliner Sharpie that is. Alright, now I can finish this up. My favorite Daffy Duck line was when he was playing Robin Hood. And I think that the short was actually called Robin Hood Duck. And Porky Pig played Friar Tuck, of course. And there was a scene where I think Porky Pig, I don't remember exactly, but Porky Pig was bugging him about not being able to stand up to his rivals or something like that. And Daffy Duck was practicing using his quarterstaff. And a quarterstaff is just a weapon, I guess. Oh, I went a little too far there. That's okay. Yeah, a quarterstaff is basically a weapon. It is a wooden pole that's dipped in iron. Sounds very medieval. And you use it to conquer your enemy. So Daffy Duck was, as Robin Hood, was practicing on his quarterstaff. And when Porky Pig's character says, you know, you're not bugging him about it, Daffy Duck says to Porky Pig, you know, I'll prove my skills with this quarterstaff. And Porky Pig kind of laughs it off and walks away. And then the funniest line, I think, from Daffy Duck is he kind of looks in the camera coyly and he says, "It's actually $1.50 quarterstaff, but I ain't telling him that." Oh, I ruined it. $1.25, that's it. He says, "It's actually $1.25 quarterstaff, but I ain't telling him that." And that just made me laugh so much. I don't know why, but it made me really laugh. And, you know, of course, the amazing Mel Blanc, man of 1,000 voices, who did pretty much all of the Looney Tunes. He did Daffy Duck too. And I have Mel Blanc's biography, and I read it, and he was talking about when he would voice Daffy Duck. You know, Daffy has that lisp. And he said people would stay far away from him when he was recording the voice because he spit a lot while he was doing that voice. I thought that was funny. Okay, so now we're going to do the final details of Daffy Duck, and that's why we have the white Prismacolor pencil. So let's take a look at what we have to do here. He's got eyebrows. I'm going to put 2 eyebrows here, and he's got one kind of coming out here. To differentiate, you know, between the fingers, that's where the white comes in. So I'm just drawing a few lines so that it's obvious that it's not just one big hand. He's got a couple of fingers in there, and he's got a little detail on his chest there, a little bit here. Oh, what else? Around his neck a little bit. The inside of his elbow has a little detail on it. His hand, right hand, and he does have a few fingers here. Okay, and a little bit, sorry about that, a little bit here on his tail. And I think that's it. I've got everything. Yeah. I might put a little detail here. There we go. That's Daffy Duck. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And I hope it wasn't too complicated for you. It was a little complicated for me, but, you know, if I follow my own instructions, I usually can get it done. So like I said, if you have a comment or a question or a suggestion, something you want to see, a Looney Tune that you want to learn how to draw, let me know and I'll work on it and I'll put together a video. And if you liked this video, and I really hope you enjoyed it and you drew along with me, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future tutorials. I upload videos now every Sunday and Thursday. And I also have a weekly art date on my blog, rainfrancisart.com. It's a themed art date, so you can get all the information there. And if you want to come and participate, it would be a lot of fun to see your artwork. So that's Daffy Duck. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.